I keep changing.
Two cases were called, 23 CR 1654, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And that was the case the defendant pleaded guilty to. And then there was 23 CR 1858, engaging in organized criminal activity. I think that's supposed to be dismissed as part of this agreement.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Pre-sentence report has been prepared, and you were Mr. Petrie.
Yes, sir.
Here with Mr. Lewis, your attorney and the state's attorney. And also, there is a pre-sentence report that has been prepared. If the parties had an opportunity to review it, any corrections or changes to it?
Not from the defense, sir.
Huh? None from the state?
None from the state, no.
Okay, none from the parties. It's made a part of the record for all purposes. The court has received recently, that I haven't read yet, that I need to read these letters on behalf of the defendant. Stand by. I'm going to need this. I need another one of these. Another yellow. No.
You sure?
Yeah, I can make, I need the bright one, but yeah, you got it, just like that.
Okay. I'll get you one.
All right, I see, Mr. Petrie, you wrote me a letter dated August 8th that kind of just rolled in. Anything else you want to add, and can you summarize, if you want to say anything? This is your time.
That's what I want to say. I know that no one else on my case received probation yet, but I never lost faith in this process because I got people out there that need me, that I need myself. After 10 months in here, I gotta get a good look at how my—
You've been there 10 months?
Yes, sir.
What do you think?
I gotta get a good—
It's not your future, is it?
No, sir. After 10 months in here, I gotta get a good look at how my absence affected my family, the youth in my family, the ones that look up to me, how it affected my girlfriend, leaving her out there to be a single mother to my child so early. I like the chance.
But how old was the child when this all happened?
She was due to
She was pregnant,
yes, sir.
but you knew it was your child.
Yes, sir. I like the chance. I like to get a chance to change the label that's been put upon me. And I want to change how people's perspective about me and how they view me, but mainly I want to do it for myself. I know I'm better than this. I know I deserve better than this. And it might not mean much to you, but I can promise you that you, the DAs, promise the prosecutors, promise my family, I can promise myself to give me this opportunity at probation, at this second chance that I'll never take it for granted.
Well, we're not judged on what we say, it's on what we do.
Sir.
You didn't do well here. It talks about, you speak about, I wasn't raised in a household that would consider doing something like this, right?
Yes, sir.
But my question is, why would you make such a foolish error with what you say is, you know, right from wrong. You appreciate right from wrong. You grew up in a household that apparently was good role modeling.
Yes, sir.
So the question begs, why would you do something terrible like this?
A foolish reaction that I shouldn't even thought first, second, or third about.
This says, since I've been incarcerated, my first and only child was born. I thought you said that she was pregnant.
She was pregnant. She wasn't born until I came.
While he was in custody.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But you knew she was pregnant at the time.
Right.
You knew there was a child coming, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you made mistakes here, you admit.
Yes, sir.
What mistakes did you make?
It was a mistake. Being a part of it at all. Wasn't supposed to be there, let alone reacting like that. Wrong time. Wrong time in my life.
Say that again.
It was a mistake, a big mistake at the wrong time, at the wrong time and point in my life.
What was the wrong time of your life? What made this the wrong time of your
Like
life?
I knew I had a child on the way. I knew I had responsibilities that I had to take care of in the near future.
So why did you make the choice you made? With all of that going forward. Most people who come here don't have anything. They've been pretty much hopeless. You seem to have family, I say, growing up surrounded by family that love him deeply. They hadn't been good role models. Child on the way. Yeah, jobs waiting for you here. And then so you were looking at you were indicted for a second-degree felony of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon here, and also a third-degree felony of engaging in organized criminal activity. And this was you admitted you intentionally, knowingly, and recklessly caused bodily injury to another by striking about the head and the body with your hands and feet, and you used a firearm during the commission of the assault. The victim was found lying on the ground with severe injuries after being assaulted by multiple individuals using hands, fists, feet, and weapon. And all of that was captured on the store security video that we all saw. And it's also at a public place where people are supposed to go just to get this is 3:29 a.m. And if people need some milk or something in an emergency for their child, this is the only place they can go because the major stores are closed. And so the beatings are going on. We have people by groups of folks being almost killed. And the other people who are trying to get their necessities that they might need on an emergency or at 3:30 in the morning aren't able to do that because the police are all over and screaming and shouting, chaos. Nobody feels safe. That's not right. That's not right. It's not the way it's supposed to be. And you were the one carrying a green backpack, and you were wearing the hoodie. And you're carrying a gun, too, a firearm. You're seen striking the victim. There are several of you. The victim ended up being sedated and was on a ventilator at the hospital to save his life. And then somebody with a gun approached him and threatened him. I guess that was you. Then he was surrounded by a large group and the assault occurred. A couple of things is, what are you doing at 3:30 in the morning? out there with a group of people with a gun when you're supposed to be at home taking care of things?
I was staying with my brother at the time. I had just arrived there with him. I was in the car with him.
What were you doing at 3:30 in the morning out? Why aren't you at home? You're just looking for trouble.
I was on my ride with him.
What are you holding the gun for?
Around.
What are you holding a gun for? You're looking for trouble. With all at home that you say you needed to take care of. Okay, you state that you are regretful for this and you understand and appreciate it was a big mistake
Yes,
and that
sir.
you want a second chance.
Yes, sir.
That, let's see, I want to further my education, which you really can't really do at 3:30 in the morning unless you're studying, not hanging around with bad people and carrying a gun and beating others. That's not going to get you smarter. I want to be a provider and set an example. Okay. Your attorney was able to negotiate a deal with where you are not looking at up to 20 years in prison. You're just looking at up to 10 years in prison, no less than 2, no more than 10. And then there's deferred or unadjudicated probation, I believe.
Yes.
A firearm with a deadly weapon was used. That kind of keeps him from getting probation in front of a jury. Okay. Then go ahead, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, Mr. Petrie, I think from his statements as well as the support letters and the information that's there before the court, I think he is somebody whose future is salvageable. He definitely can turn the situation around. As you can see, he does have a support system that's there to be there for him and to help him to try to move forward, especially if the court does consider a deferred probation for him, because he definitely would need some help with that. I think the biggest thing with Mr. Petrie is that while in custody, he has several realizations, especially once he missed the birth of his child, that he wasn't able to be there for his girlfriend or his daughter. He's not able to support them at this point while he's in custody, and so he started making plans to hopefully be able to put into effect so he can take care of those responsibilities, like trying to locate and find that job that's there available for him to start immediately if he is placed on probation. And one of the biggest things with that job, Judge, is that it eliminates idle time. Only time he would have would be for work and for taking care of his child. And then there's plenty conditions of vehicles available through probation. They can eliminate him from being out at that time of night, unless it's some type of medical emergency of anything.
What was the date of birth of your child?
November 13th. 2023.
Lester, go ahead.
And just to clarify, as far as my client with the firearm, he was seen on a surveillance video early before the incident with the firearm. Not during the incident. He never pointed a weapon at the victim or hit him with the victim. As the report shows there, he did strike the victim with a closed fist. I just wanted to clarify that for the court. But
it's been displayed. It's been brandished. The power, the empowerment of the use of a firearm is there. People know this guy's got a gun.
that was by
Whether he used it
but that
to
was by
strike somebody or not.
that was by one of the co-defendants. I'm sorry, not you. But Judge, he does have his high school diploma. He has worked in the past, so he has shown that he can.
The pre-sentence report is made a part of the record for all purposes. There weren't any objections to it, and it says Jamil Petrie was wearing, when reviewing the security video, detectives observed several suspects involved in the assault, including Jamil Petrie, wearing a black-gray hoodie, carrying a green backpack, and seen striking the victim with a closed fist and carrying a handgun. Okay, all right.
And
It was there.
well, he definitely had at some point that evening,
I
definitely
know,
had a
but it's empowerment for people who, I mean, if you don't have a gun, you're at a disadvantage when you're in a situation like that where people are looking for trouble and they got a pack here on one person, right?
Yes,
I mean, that was just terrible. It was just, it's like bees swarming. Go ahead.
and Judge, ultimately, Judge, I believe that this young man, he definitely, I don't want to say just has learned his lesson, but he's learning his lesson of what he needs to do going forward. And as I said before, he definitely has a definite plan for his future if allowed by the court. I do believe there's plenty conditions there that'll be available, from GPS monitoring to even some more upfront jail time if the court deems that appropriate, or even participation in the cognitive thinking program in the ISF. So there's definitely plenty of things available there that the court could use that could definitely help give him the additional structure that he may need going forward to not make some decisions he made, especially with the people that he has allowed himself to be around and be with, whether close friends or even some family or whatever. And he understands that he will have to make that decision to at some point really not involve himself with any of those people. And he's willing to do that. He's willing to follow whatever conditions that the court may deem necessary. As far as any criminal history, Judge, yes, he does have some limited juvenile history. It is there. Looks like it was mainly most of it from one incident there back in 2020, up until this situations here. So he has shown what he can do as far as being positive and being on the right track. And with the family support he has, Judge, I think he can make a probation successful. We don't have any type of drug alcohol issues, which is great. So we know we have someone that in the right mind can make the right decisions. He'll do right.
Okay. Can you then explain to me, which is what the juvenile courts are all about?
Mm-hmm.
They do a real good job here. I'm on the board. We try to salvage people who are salvageable.
Right.
Okay. He was placed on deferred, given a chance in 2021 for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, evading arrest with a vehicle, evading arrest and detention. Mm-hmm. That was his chance to learn a lesson if he didn't already know that mistakes in law have their consequences and will be dealt with.
Right.
And here he is.
Right. And that's why.
And here he is with a gun, beating someone at 3 a.m.
And that's one of the reasons why, Judge, I believe the situation with him being in custody and missing the birth of his daughter had such an effect on him, because he was able to see how much his actions not only affect him, how it affects other people.
Okay. Stay.
Here's the things that I would like to highlight, Judge. Number one, he was out on indictment on the charge of engaging in organized criminal activity when this offense was alleged.
And that's done. Isn't it? Yes, you had posted a bond or something, and you were out on bond when this event happened.
It's been re-indicted, and that's why the numbers are a little bit different. But there's no doubt that he was really on notice that the courts themselves were watching as far as that was concerned.
Well, we're serious about holding people accountable.
Number two, I appreciate the detail that's mentioned on page 4 of the PSI. Specifically, Your Honor, I'm highlighting that the officer did a great job of notifying you about all the defendants involved in this. As a prosecutor on this case, I will tell you, Your Honor, there will not be a time that I will stand before you and agree that somebody should receive probation for this offense. There have been many defense counsel that have talked with me because there's multiple defendants on this, and they're all seeking it. This man had another attorney right from the very beginning, was beating down my door asking for probation. That did not occur. When I consider these cases, to be fair, to act with justice, I must look at each defendant individually as to what they do and look at them as a whole because of what the situation is. What's not noted on here, Your Honor, is the second from the bottom is Michael Williams. He was on your probation whenever this occurred. We have had a hearing on that where Your Honor has seen the video, and after the hearing on that matter, you sentenced him to 20 years. That's not reflected here. That was the maximum he could receive. There is another defendant here by the name of Jalen Foxell. He is also on probation whenever this offense occurs. We are still waiting to deal with that. I anticipate the same or similar response on that because it's Mr. Foxell that's carrying the AR-15, the assault rifle that's seen in the video. Why that's significant is because he gets there in the car with Jamal Petrie and Jamil Petrie. Jamal Petrie is his brother, the defendant's brother before you here today. He did a similar plea, made a similar argument before the court, and Your Honor sentenced him to 10 years. Same sentence that was received by Karian Beatty. It's the same sentence that I'm going to ask you to give this man today, 10 years. This group act like a pack of wolves and attacked this poor man. This is the first time in reading this PSI that somebody offers up some excuse as to why they did it underneath this version, Your Honor. And I've never heard any of this from any of the other people in all the matters that either I've dealt with in negotiations or has been presented before Your Honor, either in other PSI or in other hearings. This gentleman before you is basically blaming the victim for this circumstance. That's not that acceptance of responsibility that they're pitching to you as to why he should receive probation. As I said, Judge, you will not hear me stand before you on any one of these defendants and suggest that probation is proper. I have the videos available and can tender it if Your Honor does not recall the circumstance.
Seen them now.
But it's one of those things that you just can't unsee. One of the reasons why I'm glad to stand here and represent the state of Texas is that you're given chances to try to change what's happening in our community. Beaumont is not, in my opinion, the kind of city that should be reflected by what we see in that video that's happening at 3:30. It's absolute chaos.
That's why we're taking hits.
I can't ask for anything other than 10 years.
Port Arthur, because of what goes on at 3:30 in the morning. A large part. And it's terrible. It was chaos. Just looked like a third world country. The chaos going on. And then Lord knows the people who they're trying to get a necessity because the other stores are closed. They're kind of limited in what they can do. And people just hang around looking for trouble. Anything else anybody else wants to say? What about you? Did you want to say anything else, Mr. Peter?
I don't have to say, Judge.
Okay. The court's reviewing all of this, and I've highlighted the what I think are key points here in cause number 23 CR 1654. Mr. Petrie, you have pleaded guilty voluntarily in this case. You were mentally competent to do so. You understood and appreciated the consequences of pleading guilty. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1 admitted during that hearing. to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this second degree felony of aggravated assault, where you were looking up to 20 years in prison. And I'm finding you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 10 years. And a deadly weapon, namely a firearm, will be shown affirmatively in the judgment was used in the commission of this offense. This was a terrible blemish for this city. That was chaos. It shouldn't happen anywhere, and it certainly shouldn't happen here in Beaumont. And you have better things. You had far more things going for you at home that you needed to attend to. You chose at 3:30 in the morning to carry a weapon and be a part of a beating. And that doesn't, with all those opportunities, you should have listened to the good things that you had going for you and not comply to the bad thing that was going through your thoughts. And you chose. You're paying the price, and your family ends up paying a price. For some reason, you shouldn't have forgot what you had at home. That were blessings. That is all.